Hello my loves, it's Nikki from Sundara Yoga. I support women to reclaim their feminine essence through practices such as nature-based spirituality, yoga, and what I'm about to talk to you today about is herbalism. So as a trained herbalist, I became interested in the power of plant medicines and educating myself on how I could support two things in my life. First is the ability to heal from within using these wonderful remedies such as tinctures, and more importantly how I could support myself through transition, particularly from a menstruation point of view, to create ease and flow and to also establish a more connected and beautiful relationship with my menstrual cycle. So today's video is to talk about tinctures and specifically the extraction method that I use, not necessarily the crafting method, but just the extraction method. So tinctures are an amazing herbal remedy that has stood the test of time. It's a folk remedy that has been around since women were healers in villages, and the nature of which is now handed down through generations of folk medicine. So it is a very accessible practice. So these herbal remedies are essentially an extract of a concentration of the plant medicine. So they're actually soaked, and the traces of the plant are extracted either using an alcohol base or a apple cider vinegar base, just depending on what the preferences are. So the alcohol or the apple cider vinegar actually acts as a solvent to create the herbal medicine. So it's this extract around the active constituents of the plants. Now, I will say that not all plants can actually be extracted safely. So it's important that when I'm actually crafting tinctures that I firstly understand the active constituents and also the family of where the herb comes from. So for example, I wouldn't necessarily make a tincture of an aerial or a flower of a particular family of plant, nor would I also mix that with, say, roots of, say, ginger or a root system, because the aerial plant is far more conducive to an extraction method that is steeped in, say, decoction rather than a tincture. So yeah, it's just wonderful to experiment with the benefits of these beautiful medicines. So I wanted to just show you what a infusion actually looks like, and how that actually looks and feels. So in this particular tincture, this has actually been brewing since the 9th of April. It's in a sterilised glass container, and this particular blend is actually my moon tincture. So I use the tincture once she's extracted on a daily basis, taking them in beautiful little droppers. This is an empty dropper, glass bottle. And this particular moon blend has my go-to medicines to support my moon time on my menstrual cycle. Now I've added nettle, tulsi, dahlia, raspberry leaf, yarrow and red clover. I have also been experimenting with mutex as well, as a perimenopausal woman wanting to make sure that I'm boosting all of the natural estrogen that I actually need, rather than kind of leaving it to luck, chance and magic. So for me, using tinctures and crafting my own tinctures the last couple of years has transformed my menstruation cycle like you wouldn't believe. So what it actually looks like and felt like for me was pain and discomfort, it was heavy bleeds, was inconsistent in terms of the cycle, my libido and my lubrication in terms of my sexual appetite was certainly non-existent. So my relationship with not only how it is that I feel about my menstruation, but also how I feel about my sensuality and my sexuality has really allowed me to kind of step forward into this new phase of my life with such grace and such empowerment. And so more importantly, what I wanted to talk about specifically was a couple of the herbal medicines. Just with a caveat that obviously if you are a woman who is actually in pregnancy or looking to get pregnant, I would just always give advice that you would need to go and speak to a medical professional. I'm actually not a doctor, but I am a herbalist, so it means that I can't necessarily prescribe advice in the true sense. So nettle particularly is a wonderful medicine that boosts immunity, and it's great for the lymphatic system. It's also a great antioxidant. So she's in there, she lives in here. Tulsi as well, you may have heard of her as her holy basil. She purifies the blood. So I like using Tulsi in my noontime tincture for the reason that it creates this support for the uterine wall. Damiana. Now in a previous video I've actually talked about my love of Damiana. She's an ancient herb from Central America and from the Mayan country. She has been used and integrated in a lot of ceremony work, but particularly for tincture. She's great for libido. She's wonderful for urinary tract infections, to increase lubrication. She's also a great relaxant for any of us who suffer a little bit of fatigue and anxiety. So she's wonderful, and she smells so, all of these medicines smell so beautiful, but Damiana particularly for me is really rich and nourishing. Yarrow. Yarrow is beautiful. I've got a sample of yarrow here. She smells so sweet. Now, she's a regulator for the uterine system, and she's also great for if we have actually given birth or we've had trauma within the womb. She's actually great for vaginal healing. And she's just a great regulator for the hormonal system. So yarrow is beautiful. So I just love her. Have a little look at her. Yeah, she's special, hey. Red clover as well is in the noontime tincture. So you may have heard of red clover, but she's actually a natural estrogen. So love to have her. Because obviously when we're going through this perimenopausal phase, particularly when our estrogen, drops, it's where we actually, can have those symptoms of, bloating and breast tenderness. I'm certainly experiencing a lot more fullness in my breasts, but I counteract that with, beautiful massage and increasing my intake of this noontime tincture, particularly around my PMS, which is very non-existent, but I can certainly feel a little bit fuller. I'm actually in my luteal phase right now, so in my inner autumn. So increasing the tincture has been really nourishing for this body. And finally, I've also got raspberry leaf in here as well. So antioxidant, great for those sisters who are pregnant, and has been thought about to support labour. It has this active constituent called Phryginine, I think it's called, which actually tones the uterus and it tightens the muscles of the pelvic floor. I love it because it also reduces cramping. So my loves, that's the tincture blend. And essentially what I do is I only use dried herbs, and I forage myself. I source organically. And because I'm based in Panama, Central America, it has been a little challenging to find actually reputable herbalists or stockists that I know actually send the product as advertised. So for example, nettle leaf is different to nettle root. So I'm obviously wanting to make sure that I actually get the right product. Because the active constituents in roots versus leaves are different, and we would extract the herbal essence differently. So I would want to make sure that what I'm actually getting is firstly legitimate and secondly is organic, so no pesticides. So for example, I have a herb garden at home here where I actually forage and dry myself the things that I can, but those that I can't I would source. So for those sisters in Australia, when I was in Australia, I was using this wonderful store in Townsville in regional Queensland called Plant Essentials, and I do know that they do ship worldwide. I'm fairly certain. So check them out, Plant Essentials. So in essence, this has been all of my tinctures brew for about 6 to 8 weeks, and I just lovingly would nurture her in in this beautiful container. She sits in the pantry, and just making sure that she's looked after while she's there. So it's all made with love and with kindness. So let's have a look at how we extract. So what I actually have is a decanter and a strainer plus an extra bowl, and the extra bowl is where I would leave the beautiful medicine so I can actually return her to my earth altar. And then I will actually use the droppers. So I will actually use the dropper and keep her in the fridge. So let's give her a go. Oh goodness. Oh, here we go. Okay. Exciting. And also on the new moon in Gemini as well, I tend to extract around the new moon time and tend to create around the wheel of the year or the full moon. Okay, so you can see here, empty glass, so I'll sterilize her again. So this tincture, beautiful hands dirty here, love and kindness. And sometimes I may use a muslin cloth to actually extract the additional remnants. Leave her here. And you can see she's beautiful and pure. And my loves, just decanter her into a sterilised jar, and she will live in my fridge. As my moontime tincture. The golden nectar, the goodness. Taking about 3 dropfuls in the morning and however I feel, but it's a daily ritual for me. So if you would like more information, my loves, on the beautiful power of plant medicines and how you can actually integrate these as part of your routine and your daily life to increase your vitality and to heal from within, I have a beautiful module in my Awakening the Divine Feminine program, which is module 4 on plant medicines. So it gives you a more detailed view of 5 particular plants, and it also guides you through step by step tincture making, everything from how to make your own beautiful body oils and infuse and using the active constituents of beautiful plants to support your immunity, to support your vitality, and to support you to become and realize that you are beautiful from within. So my loves, thank you so much for tuning into this video, and if I can be of support further, or if you are wildly curious about me and working with me one-to-one, you can always drop me a direct message on Instagram or visit me on sandara.yoga, which is my website. So blessings to you from across the skies, the oceans and the forests. Have a beautiful day.